Hello guys, I am Mansoor. Welcome to our YouTube channel, The Coders Bridge. Today we will be seeing about Microsoft Power Automate Desktop. So this is completely an RPA related videos. So Microsoft Power Automate Desktop is an RPA tool. So this is how to say, this is a free version introduced by Microsoft for Windows 10 users. Like we have a UiPath Community Edition and Automation Anywhere Community Edition, right? So this is also a free version with limited user access. So this will be a playlist which will be continuous videos from the starting from basic level till the like advanced level of like building an RPA bot by using Microsoft Power Desktop. Okay, so I request you to subscribe to my channel and please click that bell icon as well to get the continuous updates on Microsoft Power Update videos, Power Automate videos. Okay, so we'll jump into the video. So as you can able to see the screen, right? In the screen, this is the home screen, how it will look when we open a Power Automate desktop. Okay, if you want to create a flow, either you can just click it over here or here. I'm just clicking it and giving the flow name. So this is the first tutorial. I will give tutorial 1. Okay, I'm just creating it. So once we create, it will automatically get opened it over here. So in this thing, either you can able to like run, stop or edit. We have the buttons over here, or else we can also right click. You can able to get the buttons over here. Okay. So if we go inside here, we will be having the file for save and save as, the edit option for editing or selecting, pasting and other things, debug options to like insert a debug, like how to say, toggling a debug or removing the breakpoints. In tools, we will be having desktop and browser recording, which is a web recording. In extensions, we can able to enable Edge, Chrome and Firefox extensions. In view, you can able to see the variable. So this is a similar thing. We have the three options here, right? Variables, the elements, images and default layout. Help is nothing but a documentation. Okay, so if we close this is similar something like UiPath and automation in your, right? So left side will be the action elements, this will be your workspace area, and the right side will be the variables, selectors and other images. Okay, and here we can able to see the run delay. Run delay, you can able to increase it over here based upon the run delay is nothing but while running this complete workflow, right? How much speed you need to run, so you can able to control it over here. Okay, and if you want to create subflows or subtasks, so normally in UiPath we'll say it as XAMLs, right? Sub XAMLs. In automation anywhere we used to say it as a subtask. So this will be considered as a main XAML or main task. If you want to create subtask, you can able to create it over here. So just click, it will be asking for a name. I'm just saving with the default name. So here you can see, right? If you want to close this, you just close it. If you want to delete the subtask, just go here, click on delete. As I don't need any subtask, I'm just deleting it. Okay, so today we will be seeing about variables. So variables is a very basic concept, right? So whoever it may be a Python developer or RPA developer or a .NET developer, the variables are a basic concept things. Okay, so let me just walk you through this. Here we have a concept of variables, creating two different kinds of variables. So normally in everything it will be two different types. One is user defined variable, another is a system variable, right? In automation anywhere, UiPath and Blue Prism, we have a system variables as well. But the thing is, in automation anywhere, another thing we can able to view. So in automation, if we give just control, not control, what is that function F2, we can able to view the system variables. In automation, if we give control K, we can able to see the system variables, right? But the only different thing is here is we are not able to view the system variables over here. So when we are interacting with any activity or any function, that time only we can able to see, or else we can able to say that time only in runtime the system variable will get created. The good thing over here is we can able to change the system variable or edit the name of the system variable. That is very good concept I came across in Power Automate. Okay, let's jump and we'll create a variable. So initially we can able to create a variable also here. So let me create a variable. So as I'm creating, you know, right, what is input and output. So who is from RPA background will be able to know what is input and output. So or else I will be just like precising what is input. Input is nothing but if flows accepting some value, like, or we are using inside a flow, that is known as input variable. If you are sending some value from that flow to different flow, that is known as output variable. Okay, in our automation anywhere, while interacting with metabots, we have a concept, right? Input and output variables. Same thing if we go for UiPath arguments also, we have a concept of in out, right? So similar thing in Power Automate also. So I will be creating a variable. We'll keep our variable name as temp. We'll keep the value it as temp. Okay. So by default, I will leave it in text. So default value also I am not giving it. I will just put on create. So now one variable is got created. Okay. If we just open the variable, right, here is a surprise. So even when I see this first time, right, I was like, what is this, man? So many functions they have given inside a variable. Like okay, so normally why we use variable, like to store some data, right? For temporary purpose, for a long time purpose, or for a runtime purpose, right? So for storing or for manipulating the data in automation anywhere, we have variable operation. In UiPath we have assign activity, but in our Power Automate we have something known as set variable. So let me just introduce set variable over here. So when you open a set variable, by default a new variable will be created over here. If you want to use this variable, you can well use this. Just double click to edit the, what is that, name of the variable, or you can use as it is. Or else if you want to create the user defined variable which is created by you, just click on this function, click on this temp. Okay, temp in the sense our variable. So now our variable got selected. So wherever you able to find this function, right, this like curly braces, x curly braces, that means you can able to use your variable. Okay, and now we want to assign some value. Either you can click here and assign some value, or else you can directly go here and inside and type the hard code the value over here. So now I will put something as summer. So now we have successfully like assigned some data to our value. If you want to display the value, we have message box. Here also we have many different kinds, so we will be seeing that later. First, let me drag and drop the display message box. Here we can able to give the message title as in UiPath, but in automation anywhere we don't have an option to edit the message box title, right? So I am saying about version 11. Okay, so now we'll just put the value over here. Message box title will put as something as so we'll put message box itself, and we'll select the variable. So this is nothing but message, what is that box icon. So here we have, right, none means it will be showing as a blank message. Information means it will be showing with the blue exclamatory mark. Question means a question mark. Warning means with a triangular exclamatory with a red color. Error, sorry, warning with the orange color. Error will be in a red color. Okay, so as of now I will be leaving it as done itself. And button means okay, yes, no, like we have different kinds of responding buttons, right? So that you can able to select it over here. Okay, and I'm just clicking on save. I will be running it. Yeah, so now we got a message box, right? Our value is showcasing over here. Okay, so now we know how to deal with the text data, right? So we have only option like we want to add something or append with something. We can now able to do that with set variable activity. Is how we can deal with numeric data. For example, if you want to increment some value, if you want to decrement some value, for example, we will be doing, right, variable is equal to variable plus 1. That means our variable value will be 5. We will be doing it with 2. That means we need the value as 7. For doing that, either, so what now I will do, right, I will just edit my default variable which is temp. Let it be in text itself. As I told before, this variable which we created is a generic type. Okay, if you give number here, it will automatically consider it as a number. Okay, I'm just giving it as some 16. Sorry, I will just give a random number. I'm giving it as 16. Okay, and if you see here, before it was somewhere, now it is 16. So whatever value, the latest value this temp variable encounters, it will be displayed over here. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce with a new activity which is increase variable. Increase variable is nothing but in uh, normally we used to do, right, variable is equal to variable plus 1. That is known as increment. If you want to increase a variable, you don't need to write like variable plus one. You just need to drag and drop this, select the variable which you want to increase, and enter the number how much time you want to increase, or either you can select a variable. So I will be just putting 2, clicking on save. I will run from here. Here you can see, right, our value is 18. Before it was 16, now it is 18. So when I open this, here you can able to see, right, 16, our initial value was 16, we updated incremented value by 2, so that's why here it is 18. So like this you can able to increase the data, increase the number of data, or either you want to decrease, we have an option of decrease as well. Okay, so in the case of truncating the number, for example, for truncating, let me just convert my number into a decimal number. I will just put something 787892. It's a very big number, right? So we have a number over here. For example, if you want to truncate, okay, truncating, we have a different options. First we'll select a variable. If you want to get the integer part, integer, what is integer? Integer is nothing, a whole number is 16 here, right? So it will be showcasing a 16. If you want to select the decimal part is 0.78292929. If you want to get the round number, it will be giving us the decimal number. Here we need to mention how many place we need. If we need only 2 place, it will be showcasing as 16.78. Okay, I will be just putting it here. I will run from here. Here, sorry, what I did. Okay, I made a mistake. Here you can see, right? I told you, right? The what is that? System variable will be generated in runtime. That's why here you can see, right? Truncated variable is a system variable which automatically created on runtime. Either you can able to edit this variable. Here you can see, right? Either you can able to edit the name of the variable, system variable, or either you can able to select with your user defined variable. So I'm not going to do that stuff. I'm just going to use the system variable which is automatically created. Our system variable is truncated value. I will be saving it, again running from here. Here you can see, right, the decimal point was 2, that's why we got 16.78 as our output. So this is the thing which we use for truncating the number. Just very much easy, right? Rather than finding the decimal point, truncating, like how to say, like finding a substring of the number, doing that many stuff. This is very simple. Just put the variable name, enter how much decimal you need, and you will be getting the output. And we all know for what like this random number is used. It's a useless thing, right? Okay, so let me delete this entire thing. So now we all know how to create a variable, how runtime in say, sorry, how user defined variable is created in runtime, how the system system variable looks like, what all we can do with system variable. We can able to edit the variable, we can able to change the name of the variable, or we can able to assign a new system variable itself. Okay, now variables are like string and integer variables are good. The main thing is mostly we'll be working with the list variable. Okay, so let me just show you how to create a list. Okay, so let me just create, as I told you before, we I'm going to create one user list. So now we have a value input over here, user list. So I will be just dragging drop the list. Either you can select this with your user list and click on save. So now your user list is converted from text to a list. Got it? So I told you, right, the things which you create here is a generic type. Okay, or else you can also do it like this. You just drag and drop, you will be finding this value, right? Inside between this percentage you can just edit. I will just put my list. Got it? Either way, you can create it over here, or else and then you can go and select, or else when creating itself you can just rename the file, rename the list. Either you can do. Okay, so so we have a list which is created, my list. What I am going to do it now. So one thing you need to notice, the thing which we created, that will be in a user defined variable. The thing which automatically created, which we renamed it, that will be in a system variable, or we can also call this as a flow variable. Okay, so now flow is sorry, so list is created. Now we want to add the elements to our list. For adding the elements, even we have a thing, add items to the list. First we need to like select the list for which we need to add. I am going to add it for my list. And for what is that, items, right? Either you can hard code the value over here, or so wherever you have this function, right? What is this curly brace x curly brace? That means you can able to use your variables. Okay, so now as of now I'm just going to hard code the value. So my list, I will just put admin. I will be adding one more list. I just copy paste this. I will put user. I will put to create a one more thing. Mm, I will put a tester, or we can also keep like business user. So now our my list consists of three different types of data. Okay, if you want to extract or get the elements of our list, just need to do one thing. So I will put my list data, and I will select the list variable. What is the list variable? My list. Click on save, go and run. Here we got, right? So we have three different indexes values in our list, so that all displayed in our message box. One more thing you can do here, rather than displaying entire thing, like we have many like use cases, right? We need only just like a fourth index, first index, second index. In that case, how you can able to extract? So just go inside, put square bracket and put the index 2. Click on save, run it. We got, right, business user. So our first value was admin, our second value was user, our last value was business user. So we all know, as per data structures, the list will be starting with the index 0. So admin will be in the index 0, user will be in the index 1, business user will be in the index 2. That's why when we gave my list of 2, it returned us a business user. Okay, I hope you all guys clear how to create a list, how to add elements to the list. Now we will be going to how to sort the list, or we have an option of also clear list. Before clearing, we'll be going to sorting a list. I will just select my thing, sort item, sorry, sort list by item properties. If you enable this, it will be asking to like first property to sort. What will be the first property? Like it should be in ascending, it should be in descending. This is the second property, third property, like that it will be going on. Okay, I'm just clicking on save. So I will remove this too. So now we need to display the entire thing. Run it. Here you can able to see, right, now our list is sorted in a alphabetical order, a b, from a b to z. Okay, before it was, see, admin, user and business user. Now it got sorted to admin, business user and user. So like this you can able to sort. If you want to shuffle, you can able to easily shuffle. No one is going to use shuffle in like a real-time example. If you want to merge the list, if you have two lists, if you want to merge it, it will be creating a new list to you. Okay, see. I will just drag and drop this. Here you need to give the first list. Here you need to give the second list. Our output will be also a list. So let me create it. So I will select my user list. So I will add one value developer to my user list. Okay, so now I have added the user value to our list. Now we have two lists, one is my list, one is user list. Okay, now we have added the value to list also. So in this case, if you want to merge the list, just go here, insert merge list option, select the first list, select the second list, output will be in the output list. Go here, so let me select the value. So first let me delete this. Now I will select the output list. Okay, so I will be running this. You got right. So first three values are from our first list. The developer is from the user list. Now we got the value. And one more thing, if you want to find the result, if you result in the sense, if you want to find the what is that count, right? You just need to. So let me do one thing. Let me delete this. I will just put out. So whatever variable it may be, there will be a drop down list. You just click on the drop down, it will be showing all the properties. So for a list, we need a count, right? So we have output list. I'm just clicking on the count and clicking on save. When we execute this, rather than output, it will be displaying us the count of the particular list. So our list count is 4, starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So that is fourth index. Okay, this so we can able to merge the list. Reversing the list, nothing but it will be just uh, reversing the particular list. If you want to remove duplicate items from list, simple. If we have any duplicates, we can able to remove. Finding the common list items is nothing but we will be giving our input list as a thing, and we will be giving the items which we need to perform. What is that? Here you see, right? First list, second list, and both the things it will be finding the common list. So we have the same. So initially, this is our first list. In this list, we have three different values: admin, user, business. In this, we have developer. If we have developer also available in this my list, it will be returning the developer as a value. If you see the data type of the output, right? So before knowing to anything, you first know what data type, like what is the input data type and what is the output data type. Okay. So here are, what is this? For find common elements, the input will be two list functions and the output will be a list functions. But not only list function, what operation is performing here, we are performing the, if you normally takes a sets, right? In sets, what we will be doing, we will be performing a union, intersection, something, right? So like that, here we will be performing intersection. Intersection is nothing but finding the common value. Okay, if you go for remove duplicates, it will be like that only. You will be giving the list value and you will be just getting the value in a variable. Simple. Okay, and subtract list is nothing but finding the union, left union or right union. And what is this? Like retrieve data table column into list. This is nothing but we have a data table. We will be just converting a data table into a list. So for that, when we are creating a data table, at that time we will be seeing this complete thing and converting a JSON object. So when we are working on parsing JSON file, so I have planned a complete set of things when we need to talk on this. So I will be not telling now because you will be get confused how to work with the JSON file, how to parse JSON file, how to get the entities and attributes from the JSON file. We will be seeing that in an upcoming classes. So this is all for today. So in our today's session, I will summarize what we saw. We saw like how to create a variable, what is system variable and what is user defined variable. What are the different kinds of technique we can perform in variables, how to create a list, how to work with multiple lists, how to add elements to a list, and different kinds of things. Okay, and keep one thing in the mind, the variable which we create in our or is that user defined variable, that is a generic variable. That's why, so let me show you. You can able to see, right? We have only text and sensitive text. That means it is a generic variable. Whatever data you gave, it automatically converts into its data type. Okay, so in our next session we will be continuing with loops and we will be seeing about if conditions, and we will be going with what is that, how to manipulate with Excel, how to work with web application, how to work with desktop application, and many things. So if you like this video, please hit a like button and subscribe to our channel. Until then, tata, bye bye.